In a world, in an industry where you're supposed to please people, how do you not become a people pleaser? The truth is that it's really difficult. You really lose so much of yourself, and that's the struggle that I've been going through. And I always felt like I had to compensate and do better, and still, hindi pa rin ako yung mapipili. So that's like the conversation I have with myself right now. Mamaya, maiyak ako dito.
Hi, Gen Society! Welcome to the Retro Lounge.
where we bring the freshest faces and voices of today wrapped in a nostalgic vibe. This is your Scout Trooper JM.
And I'm Buknoy, and I'm super duper excited to see more of the talents all over the world. But right now, we are so excited because we have special someone tonight.
Joining us, she's a Filipina actress and a singer. She's well known for her works at film and television.
She is also prominent to her famous teleseries, TV shows, and movies in the industry, such as Be Careful in My Heart, The Killer Bride, Oh My G, and many more movies.
That is right. She also has a strong presence in social media. She's well known for her authenticity and advocacies, and including mental health awareness. She's also now a mother, and her motherhood journey gave her that to her public persona. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome
Miss Janella Salvador.
Hi.
Everyone,
Hi, Janelle.
the vibes, and I love retro songs.
We're really happy to have you in the Retro Lunch, Janella. How are you feeling right now?
I'm actually really happy to be here after all the stress. Take note. I'm really happy that this pushed through.
That is nice.
Same.
So shall we begin with our first question with you? What's the hardest conversation you've had with yourself, and how did you get through it?
Whoa, okay. I think the hardest conversation that I had with myself are the conversations that I'm having with myself currently. Because I feel like I'm going through like a quarter life crisis. I don't know. So I'm starting to question so many things in my life right now. Like, why am I like this? How do I adapt to the modern world? How do I adapt to the social media world? I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of struggling right now, actually, and I've been talking to myself a lot. Am I the movie? Talking to myself a lot. But I've been having a lot of questions and conversations in my head.
And what are this type of questions that you have? Give us maybe one question that you ask yourself.
I think it's because they say that at this age, your frontal lobe starts to fully develop. So I think I'm questioning so many things about myself. How come it's so easy for me to be misunderstood? Because there are some people who misunderstand my personality. Why do I like the things that I like? In a world, in an industry where you're supposed to please people, how do you not become a people pleasing? So that's the conversation I have with myself right now.
Which really makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. How has becoming a mother changed your perspective in life and in your career?
A lot. Grabe naman yung mga questions. O crisis talaga. I think it has changed my perspective a lot. As much as every time someone asks me, how has it being a mom? I would always say it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to romanticize the fact that, because it might encourage people to baby fever, I want to have babies. The truth is that it's really difficult. You really lose so much of yourself, and that's the struggle that I've been going through. So the way it changed my perspective is that I want to enlighten people na when you have kids, please make sure that you've really, really enjoyed your life to the fullest and make sure that you're really ready. Because if you're not capable of having kids yet, it's really hard. Imagine you're raising a human being. Our traumas mostly, I'm not speaking for everyone, but our traumas mostly come from our parents. Our parents' traumas that they pass on to us also came from their parents. So imagine, what would you be able to pass on to your kid? Yeah. So you really gotta think about that before you,
Exactly, because being a parent is beyond just providing bringing needs, right?
and beyond the cuteness and all of that.
Uh-huh. Okay. What's something you wish you could tell your younger self?
Oh man, maiyak ako. Siguro, I would tell my younger self, you're doing a good job. You're doing amazing. Because growing up, honestly, I've always had this notion that I'm not the best choice. I always had this notion. And it's ironic because I was an only child until I was 12 years old. So I had my childhood mostly to myself. But I always had this feeling that there's someone better. Someone that the people around me would choose someone and it would not be me. So I had that thing growing up in my head. And I always felt like I had to compensate and do better. And still, hindi pa rin ako yung mapipili. I don't know. I always had that thing. So I want to tell her na she's enough. She's more than enough. And you're doing amazing. I'm proud of you.
Oh, that's something that I would really want to say to myself too someday. Like, I mean, when I was a kid.
I know that there's this time that you feel like you're losing yourself, especially with the roles you made. How do you find yourself way back to the you?
I guess before I thought that it was easy for me to detach from all the roles that I gang. But that's what I thought. Because I just realized recently that for each and every role that I portray,
Yeah.
I took a piece of them with me.
Wow.
So like, there's a part of Nikki in me, there's a part of Sophie in me, there's always gonna be a part of Regina in me from Darna. And I feel like that's okay because there were many things I wasn't able to experience as a teenager. And those were my experiences, like going through those characters and actually living through them. Parang I took a piece of them. So
What's this particular character that you really see yourself mostly?
I would say, ang hirap naman nun, because I really enjoyed playing most of them, but I really connected with Regina the most. It was my first time playing a super villain.
Yeah.
And I would always play like goody-good roles on Eddie, like, maarte, ganyan. And it was fun, but like, for the first time, I was able to unleash all the heaviness, all the anger, and all those scenes. And I really connected with that role.
And you portrayed it really well.
Okay, I have a few questions about the Killer Red. When you portray Emma,
Yeah.
is it really hard? We saw a lot of scenes that it's really heavy. When you face the Lola, we saw a different Janella in that character. Is it really hard to portray?
If what the character is going through is hard, best believe it was really hard for me because I really tried to put myself in my character's shoes. So kung ano man yung pinagdadaanan nila, it's the same for me. I really felt those emotions. I feel like that's the Killer Bride. Emma was one of the best roles then that I did. I have a deep connection with that one.
All right. Speaking of that character, are there any moments in your life that you wish that you could relive differently?
I think yes. That I would say no.
Mhm.
But I think living with really bad anxiety because I have really bad, especially social anxiety. And even before I perform, up to this day, I never get used to it. I always get really bad anxiety. If I would change or relive something, I wish I could just enjoy all those moments instead of thinking about what could go wrong. Instead of thinking about like all the anxiety that I have, I wish I could just enjoy performing, and not think about what other people will think, all the pressure. Yeah, that's all.
We can totally really.
But I know, Miss Janella, what is happiness for you right now?
Ooh, I think happiness for me has changed. I'm a big dreamer talaga. I love to dream about scenarios that could possibly happen, the things that I want to do, the things that I want to achieve. And I thought that, that would be happiness for. And up to this day, I still have things in my, like, for example, traveling.
Yeah.
I still would love to travel the world. That's one of my biggest goals. But right now, honestly, happiness for me is just being able to stay home with Jude. Just waking up next to him, seeing him, his little breaths, seeing him smile, like just waking up next to that, I feel that's just the biggest blessing for me and it makes me so happy.
Medyo heavy yung questions.
Parang tinakaya natin lahat ng struggle ko sa buhay.
So, how do you resonate the sacrifices you make as a mother with your role to pursue international career opportunities?
Like I said, it's actually really hard. I honestly struggle every day. And I have so much mom guilt. I always get guilty just leaving the house for 30 minutes. Kasi feeling ko, he's only gonna be a kid for so long. Sobrang ikli lang nung time. And I'm gonna blink and he's gonna be a teenager. Yeah. So I just really want to maximize the time I'm able to spend now with him. And so when I have to go to work, I know I have to do it, but it's so hard for me to leave the house. Pero iniisip ko na lang, I'm doing this for him, for our future. And as much as possible, I try to bring him with me to work. Yeah, I guess that's my compromise.
Is there a time that you finally said this to yourself na, I'm finally at peace? Have you ever felt that you found a peace?
I think I have my moments. I have my moments where I truly at peace. But I think for me, it's a cycle. It's like something that's up and down. Sometimes I wake up totally great. Sometimes I wake up, I feel like everything's going wrong. And I feel like that's just part of being human. I feel like we all go through it. Nobody's life is like, oh, I'm at peace forever.
Yeah.
It's gonna stay like this forever. As much as you want to stay positive, I feel like nobody's life is like that, really.
Really, yeah. Yeah, I agree to that. Because, you wake up sometime, you're okay. Sometimes you're not. It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you.
So, to end this good note, what is this advice that you can give to this generation?
Okay, honestly, as someone who advocates for setting boundaries, I think this generation has something that's so important. This generation has confidence. The confidence to speak up. I think this generation is not afraid to speak their mind. So I hope we use our voices in the right way. And we don't be afraid to speak up and think out of the box. Because this generation can literally shape our future. We are the future.
Yes.
If there are things that we're not aware of, let's educate ourselves and not be afraid to speak up.
Thank you so much. So is there anything that you want to promote?
Yes, actually. I have new music coming out very, very soon. So I've already released my first 2 singles, Hentone and Hey You. And soon enough, I'm going to be releasing my album. So I hope you guys stay tuned when I drop my album. And you can now watch Under Parallel Skies on Netflix. It's finally out now.
I'm definitely going to watch that. Thank you so much, Janella, for being here, for sharing your experiences and everything. And thank you so much to our listeners and our viewers out there. Thank you for tuning in us and wait for our next episode. This again is your Scout Trooper Jam.
And I'm your Scout Trooper Buknoy. And we're signing off
The Rebel
Loud.
I'm your Scout Trooper, Janella.
Yes!